So guys, remember we've been talking about going to your boss with a complaint or a problem, right? We talked about that yesterday. I'm going to give you each a piece of paper. Crumple it up, please. What? Ball it up? So 30-second snowball fight, go. Keep it going. Get him. Don't leave any snowballs behind. Time. Everybody grab a snowball. Everyone needs to have a snowball. Look at your question. Talk with the people at your table.
Give an example of a way to ask your boss to talk. That means you ask your boss, may I have a word with you?
Soft skills, employability skills, those are huge. That's 100% what we concentrate on in the classroom. But if you did have a problem, what if someone was really bad at work? We've found that students are more likely to lose a job not because they can't do the task, but because they are unable to get along with coworkers or problem solve. So we want to practice those things every day. Do you want to read it out loud to the class?
Yeah. You work in a restaurant. Your station is near the oven. It is a very hot summer and you get really hot working by the oven all day.
So let's look at your steps and describe how you would handle the situation.
Ask to talk.
Okay, who wants to be the boss? Talk about disclosing your disability or not disclosing it and how to do that and what rights you have, for accommodations at your workplace.
It makes it kind of hard for all of us and myself to work in the kitchen right now because it's so hot.
If we have less people in there, and then we should never wear long sleeves. And it'd be easier without no long sleeves.
Well, thank you for your nice advice and helping us.
All right, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Almost all of the students in Project Search face socioeconomic challenges along with their disability. It's hard to get a job if you can't, if you don't have the money for an interview outfit, but how can you get the money for an interview outfit if you don't have a job?
I have a learning disability, but I'm still smart at the same time. I just learn slower than regular kids. My counselor told me about Project Search and my teacher told me. At first I didn't want to do it, but then I thought, let me just take a leap of faith and do it. So I can get a job one day and live on my own and be independent and learn how to be a good worker.
Bullseye.
Good job. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Library. Well,
Have a good day.
library.
Have a good one.
The city of Rochester itself is actually the #1 city in the country for comparable size of city in terms of children living in poverty. The graduation rate for all students in the Rochester City School District is 49%. The graduation rate for African American students is 44%. For students with disabilities, however, it's only 22%. The makeup of our class is predominantly Hispanic and African American students with significant disabilities, so they're a dually at-risk population in terms of thinking about their outcomes post-high school. So Project Search is a 1-year transition to work program for students with significant disabilities. It focuses on full workplace immersion with the goal of providing students an intensive opportunity to learn work skills in a real work setting. So it's all about seamless transition to work with the goal of competitive integrated employment.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to clean the tops of the books.
Students have 3 internships during the course of the year. For some of our young folks, they truly are ready to enter the workforce after 2 internships. The relationships that are formed between city employees and our student interns become real peer, mentor types of situations.
There's nice people there. They make me feel comfortable. It's very welcoming there. And I learned the different stuff about the history of Rochester.
We have a very short staff in the library, so a lot of times our facilities people, for example, can't do the type of cleaning that that we really need done. You know, things just get dusty and nasty, and Anthony kept everything spotless and looking great for our patrons, and just was really conscientious about doing that. I think people who think it's too much trouble to hire people with disabilities are really missing out. It's really not a lot more work if you can just take a little bit of time at the beginning to talk with that individual, find out what they might be interested in doing, see if there's a match with what you need done, and I bet you 90% of the time there will be a match in some area. It's really a small investment of time that pays off greatly for everybody involved. So don't judge a book by its cover, I guess, which is appropriate for a librarian to say.
Medtronic is the largest device manufacturing company in the world. We're roughly $45 billion to $50 billion, and we have about 85,000 to 87,000 employees.
And we're now into, I think, our fourth rotation of project search interns. Several months ago, a group of our vice presidents from across the world that are responsible for manufacturing organizations were here on our campus. I said to them, so how would you like to have an employee whose productivity is above average, whose attendance is above the norm, whose rate of retention is greater than the norm? All of which are characteristics of people with disabilities. Obviously, that is the profile of the individual that they would like to have employed in their organization.
Okay, so from this equipment, if you go to, say, we do a search for your equipment ID, let's say that we go to KOI 5. How about the one that's at 0? Were you able to verify that they were 0, actual 0?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good that you cross-check. By cross-checking, we assure that
It's not a case of, I'm just trying to do something good for the community. To me, I'm tapping untapped resources. We're a business, and I want people who want to contribute to that business.
Each section where the items is stored, and to see what row is in. It also shows what bin the item is in. I noticed that there's some other empty items that have 0.
We pick the right supervisors for our students and interns to say, okay, they're going to be good role models, good influencers on it. But I was amazed that what the supervisors reported back to us to say they had gotten an education. They had gotten what they felt was more out of it than the students had gotten out of it.
Microchips, making sure they are exactly where they need to be. Making sure that also make sure the microchips match with the other ones without making sure that they weren't mislabeled as well.
When you look at team members with people with disabilities, they bring a completely different breadth of experience and life experiences that they can provide to projects and team members. And by having people with disabilities here, you're actually taking that extra second or extra minute to work with this individual or reflect internally on how are you going to communicate, how are you going to say this, so that you get the result that you want. And I actually use that now with everyone that has a language barrier because we're a global company.
At first I felt, that people with disabilities would be a hindrance, slow me down. I would have to manage what they're doing, constantly checking up on them to make sure that they were okay. They've showed me that they go way beyond where I ever thought the limits were. Some have even helped me to do test programs.
U's and the P's go in here, right?
Yeah, and these go in different areas by the looks
Those are resistors, that's right. They're in different areas.
So Hunter has been working with me. We have been organizing and cataloging our spare part components that will go on our boards that test our hybrid. So this work that he's doing will actually speed up our ability to fix testers around the world.
Both working with project search interns as well as working with other individuals with disabilities, we haven't found the job that they can't do. In some cases, what it may require is just changing how the job is done, either through equipment or tools or through methods of supervision to make them successful. So we have individuals with disabilities as engineers, as technicians, in facilities, in administrative support. As people are considering this and saying why, I would ask them why not. There's so many benefits from employing people with disabilities that the answer becomes obvious if you're willing to explore it.
What I do in hybrid maintenance is to do inventory, meaning that I can check and count the amount of items and tools we have. I learned that I need to communicate with other coworkers and needed to respect them while doing your job.
Awesome. Thank you, Christian. Good job.
That's my dad.
Hi, Christine. Congratulations.
Thank you so
We so
much.
enjoyed having Anthony
I love my
with
new
us.
job.
You do?
Yeah.
So you're a Rochester General, right?
He's a good father. He's been there for me all my life. He's a good provider, and he's very wise and knowledgeable, and he's always there when I need him.
All right, Daddy, so proud of you, okay?
Hi.
Programs like this are a lifesaver. And a lot of kids in this community need these programs because without these programs, it'll be a lot harder for these kids and their parents. It takes a lot of pressure off me as a parent because, as a parent, I have to, go to school and I work full time too, and then I have to come home and cook for them, basically full-time parent, single parent.
Some days, like today, you will take big steps towards your goals. And some days you will take tiny steps. But remember, even the smallest movement forward will bring you closer to your goals. So congratulations, and don't forget to come visit me. Kayleen Schuster. Anthony Canty.
My plans for the future are I want to buy my own house one day, and I want to travel the world. Yeah. Thank you all for coming, and my Project Search fellow students, I love you guys so much.
So nationally, the employment rate for people with disabilities is around 30%. Our Project Search programs are moving our students out at a rate of 84% into competitive integrated employment.
I want to make my own money so I can buy myself nice stuff like clothes, shoes, and learn how to pay bills, and so I can pay my rent when I get my own place one day. I just want to be successful. I want to be like a leader for my community and a role model. I would like a partner. He'll have to have a job too, and just like me. And I would like a nice house one day in the future. And me and him and like 2 dogs, like German Shepherds, and then have a car. Yeah. I'm cleaning your table really quick. There you go. You guys' room is all clean now.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
Yeah, they were telling us that everybody likes working with you. And
Oh, yeah?
It's true. We like working with you.
I love working
We
with you
appreciate
guys
having
too.
you.
We love having you up here.
With Anthony he doesn't just come in and do his job. He's not just a cleaner. He comes in, he wants to know, how are you doing? It makes it so that the hardest of hardest days and the hardest patients, he makes it a little bit easier. There are days that we lose people, and it's really hard. What people don't realize is that you have to turn right back around, and you have to pick yourself back up, and you have to keep on going. But when you have people like Anthony here, he helps you to pick yourself up, turn back around, get your big girl britches on, and start your day, keep going with it. And I don't think everyone can do that.
I'm always here for you guys, no matter what.